Hi all, and welcome to our networking roundup. Networking using Meetup.com, Eventbrite, and Facebook events. Networking and meeting with other professionals in your local area is a great way to advance your career and also look for new business leads. Not every networking event is ticketed, although there are some that are. You can head along to a website like meetup.com, for instance, and find a local networking group which meets up at a local venue regularly, say every month, and you can join that group, introduce yourself, and then head along for the evening. So what we wanted to do today, the aim of the session today, is to look at Meetup.com, Eventbrite, and Facebook events as three separate platforms which in their own way promote local networking groups. I'm also going to uncover a few tricks on each one of these platforms, and I'll be sharing links throughout the next few minutes so that you can optimize and maximize your opportunities with these event directories. Meetup.com is a great website for free community meetup groups on almost every topic matter, and these groups are happening around you right now. So you can simply go to meetup.com and type in your postcode or address. In this case, we are using Adelaide, and I'm going to look at the social media events that are happening in Adelaide. I could also type in a simple keyword like business or entrepreneur or a more topical over 50s meetup. For a business point of view, let's say that we want to network with business owners and also with other social media business people. We can simply type in a keyword, put a geo fence around it, 100 miles or 50 miles, and then go to groups. The reason we're looking at the groups section here instead of clicking on calendar is that not all groups plan their events in advance. They might announce the date just a week in advance. So it is good to get an idea of all of the active groups, whether or not they have any immediately upcoming events or not. It's a good idea to scan all of these separately. So as we search here, we can also sort by the default recommended, or we can choose most members. I like choosing most members as it's a simple signal for me of the most active groups, or the biggest groups, of course. So having searched for those keywords, let's now open up a few of these meetup groups and see what we can see inside. Them up now in other tabs. So starting with the more net squared Adelaide green at the moment. Group 351 members, and I can opt to join, write an introduction about myself and my business, and then be accepted into the group by the event moderator. Even if you don't plan on immediately attending an event, you should register and join with this group if you find that it might be useful over the next few months, or that you might be able to attend a future group. And I'll tell you why in just a little bit. It involves your calendar. So coming down here, I can see that the last meetup was November and October before. They might be having a break over the summer. But if I join the group, I can pose a question to the moderator and ask them what they've got planned. When you do join, as I mentioned before, it will ask you to fill out a bio, and you can do that to receive introductions from other business members. One thing I like to look at is the organizer of the group. And if I click down the left-hand column, I can see that the group is organized by Ben, and it is organized by Nigel. And if there is a bio in this profile, you can read the first few lines. This is important to see what's the motive of the event. Is it a co-working space? Is it a local government authority? Is it a digital marketing company? If it's a digital marketing company, there tends to be an ulterior motive behind setting up the group. And that ulterior motive is, of course, getting new business leads for that digital agency. It's certainly not a bad approach, but it means that for you as a competitor, you are then attending the group as a potential competitor to the organizer of the meetup group. So it's an interesting dynamic, and there's varying opinions on whether that is a positive thing. However, you may like to look for other meetup groups that aren't so partisan towards one private organisation. So again, Adelaide SEO, I can look at the organiser and see that she is also SEO oriented, of course, and that Liz works with Quasi Studios, and I can Google that organisation to check out their background before committing to the group. You can also read the introduction to the group and see if it's for you. As we were just looking at before, you do get what we'll call partisan meetups on Meetup.com, and this certainly is one of those, organised by a private organisation for the benefit of the members. You can see that organisation has also forward planned all of the meetups each month and has put TBA on to each of those. I'm going to click on one other meetup here below because this is quite a useful one. People in this meetup are also in the following groups: Young Conscious Entrepreneur, Adelaide Personal and Business Development Group. These all sound like the right kind of avenue for me as a business owner working in the tech space. So I'll get out of this one and let's have a look at Jelly Co-working. So free, casual, fortnightly co-working in Adelaide, work from somewhere different. These kind of groups are really positive as they're organised usually by a co-working space, sometimes a government authority, sometimes a private person who has negotiated a space with the venue. Lots of photos, lots of members, and you can see that there's quite a positive atmosphere to potentially join in this group. So quite liking the sound of any co-working groups that, again, are a little bit non-partisan. So join that group if you find that interesting. Personal business and development group that also has 729 members, so a really big group. And the last time they met was November 7th, so again, a little bit of a break over the summer period. You can also check out other groups that these members are a part of. I hope that's useful for the meetup section. Now let's talk about joining groups for just a moment. The wonderful feature about Meetup.com is the ability to join groups and then subscribe to upcoming events in your calendar. It's hard to keep track of local events, especially if you're in a big city. So what we recommend, and I'll share this link in the Hangout, is subscribing to an event feed. So the first link is Meetup.com. And the second link I'll put in the Hangout here is something called the Meetup feeds. All right, so it's hard to find this information, so I hope this is useful for you. If you click on meetup.com/API/feeds, you will get a summary of all of the calendar integrations that are possible from Meetup.com. So what this means is if you join a whole lot of local groups and you are accepted and you add those groups to your calendar, your Google Calendar, that means you will be notified in your normal calendar program instead of going to meetup.com. I find this really useful for forward planning some of the events that I'll attend. So export the Meetup API feeds in the link that I've just given you in the Hangout, and you will be able to add that to your local calendar and receive notifications of upcoming events. And as I said before, even if you don't plan to join those events immediately, it is good to join the groups and introduce yourself with the obvious intention of attending an upcoming event. Moving over to Eventbrite now, I'll switch over to Sydney and again, search for social media, upcoming events. Eventbrite is much better for ticketed events, guest speaker events where there is an admission fee, and courses as well as educational courses. However, it is still a good idea to keep on top of events in the Eventbrite space for all sorts of reasons. One of the reasons is you might be able to email the event organizer and get some information on who's speaking, and if you can come along and cover that as a media officer, or to check out local community organizations, to attend, as I said, a networking group. That networking group may possibly not be on meetup.com. So there is tons of good reasons to add Eventbrite to your listening, to your monitoring. Use the same trick as we did earlier. You may want to add Eventbrite events to your Google Calendar, and I'll share the link up here for a third-party service called plancast.com. Now, plancast.com will help you to export events from Eventbrite, and it will import them into a Google Calendar. So that's eventbrite.com. And plancast.com. Now moving over to Facebook events. Events on Facebook, again, a little bit of a mishmash, just like Eventbrite is. And depending on whether you have Facebook graph search, it can be a little bit difficult to find out what kind of events might be useful for you. However, there is a good way of approaching Facebook events as far as networking, and that is using Facebook as a networking tool for your business colleagues. So following our recommended privacy settings, you can open up part of your Facebook to business colleagues and business friends and local acquaintances. And the key reason for doing this is to get a better sense of the events in your local area that might involve a business. So Facebook uses your friends to tell you about more upcoming events in your local area. And depending on the types of friends you have, it influences the list of events that it displays. It also is important to note that your local area will be the main source of events for Facebook, for your Facebook account. So here I'm seeing events popular in your network, and I can scroll through and have a look at the mishmash of events that Facebook are advertising to me. If you have graph search in your Facebook, that is, you can put keywords into Facebook like events near Adelaide, and that can come up with a good set of results for you as well. For me, on my particular Facebook account at the moment, it isn't, but that's okay. We can still search around in the best way possible to have a look at local events in an area. And you can see Facebook's trying to do a good job of matching it. So it is showing us a bunch of events in the Adelaide area. Now, there is a trick here for syncing Facebook events. So if you RSVP to a Facebook event, even saying maybe you'll go to a Facebook event and not yes, what we can do here is advertise that to, export that to your Google Calendar. So again, with Meetup.com, Eventbrite, and Facebook now, you can have a really good set of local events in your Google Calendar simply by following a few instructions. Facebook events, Meetup and Eventbrite.com are professional tools for you to capitalize upon for your professional networking, and we hope you found this tour useful. Please leave a comment below if you'd like to know anything more about these tools for your networking needs. Thanks and have a great day.